everyone, and welcome to another obscure Asian story. China is increasingly using disinformation as a key strategy to undermine its rivals, and Taiwan is its biggest target. Right now, Taiwan is considered the most heavily hit country in the world when it comes to disinformation. There are several reasons why Taiwan is so vulnerable. It has a free and open media, high internet use, and shares cultural and language ties with China. While China has always tried to influence Taiwan, things escalated once and had two major advantages: a strong narrative and the internet to spread that message widely. Tensions between China and Taiwan grew sharply after Tsai Ing-wen was elected president in 2016. Around the same time Russia's use of online disinformation gained global attention, China began using similar tactics on Taiwan. The goal was clear: undermine trust in Taiwan's democracy and deepen political divisions. But Taiwan's diverse political system and public skepticism of authoritarian messages have helped limit the damage. In the 2020 election, China-backed sources falsely accused Tsai of faking her doctorate, a claim the London School of Economics later debunked. Ahead of the most recent presidential election, China intensified its efforts spreading false rumors about DPP candidate Lai Ching-te. Despite this, Lai won the presidency, though his campaign was flooded with fake stories, altered images, and scare tactics designed to turn voters against him. China's main objective is to erode trust in the government and weaken the DPP, but Taiwan is fighting back. The government has banned several Chinese platforms like TikTok and Tencent and passed laws like the Anti-Infiltration Act to block foreign political interference. China's disinformation comes in many forms, spread by state-backed sources and the 50 Cent Army, a group of internet users paid to post pro-China content. Their messages range from promoting China's image to attacking democracy. Now, with AI-powered tools like deepfakes, disinformation is becoming harder to detect. Taiwan's media environment, marked by political polarization and low trust in traditional news, makes the country especially vulnerable. China tailors its disinformation to exploit these weaknesses. Taiwan's society is deeply divided along political lines. That makes it easier for China to exploit tensions, especially around party loyalty and trust in democracy. As analyst Su puts it, people politicize everything, so it becomes harder for them to look at information objectively. Many Taiwanese have stopped trusting mainstream news outlets. Instead, they rely on what they hear from friends or family. That's why private apps like Line and public platforms like Facebook have become major sources of news. But apps like Line, where people mostly chat in closed groups, are ideal for spreading disinformation quickly and quietly. With tensions between China and Taiwan at historic highs, the international press has started paying more attention, but their coverage often misses the mark. Since most reporters are only on the ground for a short time, they tend to dramatize the situation, portraying Taiwan as the next flashpoint for global war. Many focus on conflict and fear, rather than everyday lives of Taiwanese people. Even local fixers, guides who assist these journalists, often end up helping shape a dramatic narrative instead of showing the full picture. While the media fixates on big headlines, most Taiwanese are dealing with ordinary local problems. Meanwhile, China is stepping up its use of generative AI to spread false information. Taiwan's National Security Bureau says Beijing is using AI to stir division, create confusion, and push its political message that Taiwan belongs to China. China is increasingly employing cognitive warfare. They are using information to divide a society from the inside. There are growing concern about how long Taiwan can keep resisting. China's goal is to shape how people, both in Taiwan and around the world, see the island. By calling Taiwan a breakaway province, China pushes a narrative that undermines Taiwan's government and supports Beijing's political agenda. Sometimes these tactics echo what we've seen elsewhere. For example, US President Trump has jokingly referred to Canada as America's 51st state, in a similar effort to blur national identity. To influence public opinion, China also uses fake social media accounts that pretend to be Taiwanese citizens. These accounts spread lies designed to stir up division and confusion, especially around elections. But the campaign doesn't stop online. China also uses traditional media to spread negative stories about Taiwanese leaders. When Taiwanese outlets pick up these reports, people might believe them without realizing the source, making the disinformation even more powerful. realistic-looking videos or audio clips that are completely fake. These are often hard to detect and easy to believe, making it even harder for the public to separate truth from fiction. All of this leads to a dangerous outcome, growing distrust, not just in politicians, but in the media itself. All of this leads to a big question: can Taiwan keep up the fight against disinformation? In May 2024, President Lai publicly condemned China's disinformation tactics and promised tougher national security laws and more public awareness. The government has already taken some action. The Executive Yuan approved 2 draft laws targeting cybercrime and online fraud. If these pass, big online platforms that make ad money in Taiwan will have to set up local offices or appoint legal representatives to help with content investigations. Ironically, Taiwan's political divisions actually provide a bit of protection. Researcher Yi Suozheng explained it like this: in a divided society, only half the people believe any one story. That's a hidden strength of democracy. Because people are free to disagree, it's harder for one false narrative to take hold everywhere. China's propaganda also doesn't always land. Even though Taiwan and China share a language and culture, a lot of the content from Beijing still feels out of touch to Taiwanese audiences. It often uses simplified Chinese characters instead of the traditional one used in Taiwan. Zheng adds that much of its content seems more aimed at impressing Chinese officials than actually influencing Taiwanese people. That said, China is getting smarter. With generative AI, it's easier than ever to copy Taiwanese speech patterns and make fake content feel more local. So even though Taiwan knows it can't completely stop disinformation, it's not giving up. In fact, regular citizens, along with the government, are actively pushing back against fake news. But foreign interference still makes it harder to have honest, democratic debates. To fight disinformation more effectively, Taiwan's Ministry of Justice opened a cognitive warfare research center in January. However, some critics say the government has been too slow to respond. President Lai's team now plans a stronger, more coordinated national strategy involving all government agencies. At the same time, tech giants like Meta, X, and Google have scaled back their disinformation teams, leaving Taiwan more vulnerable. As a result, Taiwan is working to strengthen its own defenses by keeping skilled experts and hiring new talent, especially from the tech industry. President Lai also wants to partner with other democracies facing similar threats, like the US, Japan, South Korea, and Australia. Experts say regular cooperation and long-term investment are essential to stay ahead of evolving disinformation tactics. Meanwhile, civil society is stepping up too. NGOs and fact-checkers are launching campaigns and creating tools to help the public spot fake news and stay informed. In fact, Taiwan has developed one of the most active fact-checking ecosystems in the world. Organizations like MyGoPen, the Taiwan Fact-Check Center, and research hubs such as the Taiwan Information Environment Research Center all work together. Tech innovators like Taiwan AI Labs are also part of the effort, using artificial intelligence to track how disinformation spreads. What really sets Taiwan apart is how well all these groups collaborate. Take Kofax, for example. Kofax is a fact-checking chatbot launched in 2016 by the civic tech group Gov to help people in Taiwan break out of social media echo chambers. Since many don't trust official sources, Kofax acts like a digital friend. Users can edit online, Taiwan's most used messaging app, and forward suspicious messages. The bot replies with a fact check, explaining what's true, what's not, and how it knows. If a claim hasn't been checked yet, it offers tips for investigating it yourself. Kofax now has over 300,000 users, handled 6,000 plus fact checks weekly, and is supported by nearly 3,000 volunteers. Despite these efforts, Chinese propaganda continues to spread through platforms like YouTube and Twitch. Beijing still tries to undermine President Lai and weaken Taiwan's international relationships. Taiwan isn't the only country dealing with fake news and disinformation. These are global problems that undermine public trust, confuse citizens, and threaten democracies everywhere. But Taiwan is especially vulnerable due to its tense relationship with China, which has made it a major target for digital attacks. These campaigns don't just impact Taiwan, they can also affect how the region is viewed globally. Disinformation can sway elections, divide society, and distort how people understand critical issues like Taiwan's independence and its ties with China. Rather than trying to debunk every single fake story, Taiwan is focusing on raising public awareness about how widespread and dangerous disinformation really is. And that approach is paying off. Despite the threats, Taiwan remains strong. In fact, the Bertelsmann Foundation recently ranked its first out of 137 countries for democratic and economic progress, a clear sign its democracy is holding firm. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time and thanks for watching!